and IEP urgent care emergency physician, Dr. Jacob Sinkoff. Good morning.
Thanks for having me back again. Good morning, guys.
Good to see you.
Big weekend coming up.
Big.
Yeah.
Big weekend.
I remember wasn't last year when they had Gus Macker, Faster Horses, and the Hot Air Jubilee the same weekend.
It was a beautiful weekend for the ER, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we get a little bit of a break this weekend, but I remember it was actually busy from, we had a lot of Gus Macker patients and stuff like that last year.
So, well, to me, it's, the 40 and up division that is working hard on those old joints, on the cement. It's a little different, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because we had some broken bones and kind of all those type of. We actually had a lot of the athletic injuries, but we also had a lot of injuries related to heat. And I there's a lot of spectators and stuff, and stuff like that. Growing up, I grew up in Wisconsin. Gus Macker's a Michigan thing. Is that correct?
Yeah. For the most part,
kind of. Yeah. So I didn't realize how big it was here until everyone's asking if I play basketball.
Well, you have a team, don't you?
The Henry Ford, I think we do have a team.
Yeah, I think
the Medellin.
The athletic.
Dr. Medlin. I think he has a team. Unfortunately, we got a new. I think he's been on the afternoon show. Our new ER nurse director is a big basketball player, but unfortunately he tore his bicep, so he had surgery, so he's out this year.
That's right. We're gonna
big
giant guy.
Yeah. So he played in college and played overseas too. So I'm to get ready for next year. I think I'm gonna have to play next year. So
we've been talking about heat, obviously across the country nonstop. I just am so glad I don't live in Texas.
Yeah.
But we do deal with heat here. How do you? What's the best way to prep?
So just staying hydrated. So the thing about heat-related illnesses is extremely preventable. So staying well hydrated and just being conscientious of staying in the shade when you can. And the thing with heat really catches up before you realize it. And you see it in the summertime with every type of person. We see it a lot of times I've read articles about a lot of concerts, outdoor concerts, and artists are out there singing, and it doesn't take very long, and by the time you realize, it's oftentimes too late that you're overheated and definitely need to take a break. So if that does happen, obviously staying well hydrated, getting to a cool place, damp clothing can help kind of aid in that, getting some of that heat off your body.
Does hydrating today help me tomorrow?
It will, yeah. You don't ever want to start off dehydrated. Absolutely, staying well hydrated. Night before, all that works really, really well. And a lot of times medications can cause, a lot of people are on blood pressure medications, diuretics, that kind of help prevent excess fluid, can really harm people out in the sun. So just being aware.
I saw one hospital in the Phoenix area was calling up to the cafeteria to have them bring down buckets of ice, and they were just dumping it on the people. Yeah,
so the most serious kind of heat-related illness is what's some considered heat stroke, and that's when your body temperature gets over 104 degrees, and the best thing to do is cool patients down as soon as possible. A lot of times we see it as drug related with a lot of these like rave festivals and everything like that. One of the side effects of some of these kind of street drugs or party drugs is overheating. So I've read lots of articles. These people come in with body temperatures between 105 and 110 degrees, and they'll take almost like body bags and just fill them with ice to cool people down. So
if you're out in Phoenix golfing, or say you were out drinking or something, you don't realize what's happening to your body.
Absolutely, or you think you're drinking lots of beer, and it's like it's cool, but that ultimately will dehydrate you because it acts as a diuretic, and you fall behind pretty early, and then it's hard to catch back up once you get dehydrated. So.
Yeah, I think that's a misconception. Beer, people are drinking a lot of beer. They think they're getting the fluids, but it's
you are getting fluids, but a lot of times you end up you urinate back out because it acts as a diuretic. So
it can creep up on you too. I remember one time I was riding my bike. It was like 98 degrees.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I just couldn't go anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's not like a slow kind of process. It gets you pretty quick. So yeah, staying hydrated, just making sure you have water available, and I'm sure they'll do a good job downtown. Having water available and everything like that, shade. And I don't think it's supposed to be terribly warm this weekend. It's going
to be perfect.
But yeah, even 80, it can happen, especially with people that are physically exerting themselves when they normally don't.
How bad is that heat across the country? Like, for example, if you were dealing with 20 straight days of 113 plus here, I mean, what would that do to the ER?
Oh, so, and people don't understand, it's a life-threatening. Right. So, if I haven't been watching the news recently, but a lot of times, elderly patients are especially at risk. If you don't have air conditioning in the home, that can really be a public health problem. So, yeah, absolutely having that knowledge, checking on your neighbors when things like that go on. Luckily, we don't have that happen in Michigan as much, but when these heat waves go through, it can be a high cause of mortality.
Yeah, I saw yesterday the healthcare cost of the excessive heat is going to be in excess of $1 billion.
Yeah, people don't think about of the costs associated with everything. Right. But unfortunately, a lot of times people can't afford AC or to get their electric shut off. They can't get AC, and then ER-related visits, all that sort of stuff is expensive.
Right now we have a little, reprieve from the wildfire smoke, but it's affecting the East Coast, and it looks like we could see it back again this summer. What do people have to be alert for?
So it's primarily affecting people with underlying pulmonary disorders like asthma, COPD. So, being careful if you have those underlying conditions, staying indoors as much as you can if it's affecting you. And if it gets really bad, we recommended everyone staying indoors. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad, but there was a couple days you go outside, it was really hazy and really so we kept our young kids inside and it was just, it's odd, but just, how it affects you is important. And obviously if you have one of those underlying disorders, you have to be especially careful. Yeah. So
we've had some interesting weather this year.
Did you have any fingers blown off over the 4th of July?
I didn't work, but I heard it wasn't too many. One day I'll have to bring some x-rays. I don't have any personal x-rays, but it's like with Facebook, I'm part of this ER doctor and put all the x-rays, obviously with no patient identifiers. And I'm sure you could just Google search them, but there's some interesting x-rays. So I think we had a good 4th of July. Yeah.
People don't do the individual ones as much as used to. They just go out to the lake and there's someone that's putting on a $40,000 show. So you just watch that.
Yeah, for sure. Because those, just the little individual little firecrackers, those cause a lot of damage. So it's easier just to watch your neighbor do it.
Very, very much so.
Yep.
So. I think you're right. I didn't hear a lot of fireworks with the holiday as we usually do.
Yeah. I wonder if it was because it was on the Tuesday this year, right? I noticed the same thing too. It just kind of seemed.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
Could have had something to do with the dry weather and the. Burn ban too.
That was the other thing too. Yep.
I think at that point we were discouraged from.
Right.
What about Faster Horses? Where did you see?
So we had Faster Horses. The 10-year anniversary of Faster Horses. It was actually kind of a little bit down this year. I heard there was a lot. They sold a lot less tickets. But our partners with JCA, Dr. Mano. Semi-retired Dr. Mano, still the medical director at MIS. They do such a great job out in the field. We have a lot of our residents out there. They get a lot of ambulance calls, but I think over the week or over the 3 days, we had only 20 ambulances come to the emergency department from over there. And that's over, I think they had over 200 EMS calls. So there's a lot of medical providers out there. They have a lot of supplies and they get a lot of stuff done out there, which is great because it's could be a huge burden on the community, the emergency department, but our whole medical team does a really, really good work out there.
Yesterday was Patty and John Mano's 47th wedding anniversary.
And John's been working in partnership with the track for 47 years.
Years and years and years. Yeah, so I know they're getting excited for NASCAR coming up. So I think that's the first weekend of August,
right? The Firekeepers Casino 400.
Yeah. So, yep, all of our residents that are in JC are all getting prepared for that now. On to the next one.
Oh, thanks for all the summer heat and survival tips. Good to see you again.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks.
Dr. Jacob Sinkoff from Henry Ford Jackson Hospital and IEP Urgent Care. More of the morning show right after this.